This is Henry Chamberlain, and it's my pleasure to welcome Daniel Robert Hope. He's an animator. We're going to be talking about his animated short, The Clearing, which is going to be a part of the New Yorker Studios presents December, December 19th? December 9th. Getting ahead of myself. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me here, Daniel.
My pleasure. Thanks for
Now,
having me.
I want you to go ahead and give us a rundown of what The Clearing is about. Basically, you've got Bill and Deb and their marriage is on the rocks. What can you tell us about this story?
Well, so essentially, the clearing's about one man's ego and his sort of unwillingness to yield. As you said, their marriage is on the rocks, and you kind of quickly find out why. It's because Bill's a very particular character. He's a narcissistic. He's unrelenting, and he's only really obsessed with himself. That's kind of all he's interested in. And we sort of follow them on a last ditch family holiday. Come on, let's do this. Let's try one last time to kind of make this work. But ultimately, it never was going to work. And but the story kind of takes some really dark twists and turns along the way. And I'm not going to give the ending away, but it's doesn't work out well for anyone really.
Well, it's in perfect tradition with, and correct me if I'm wrong, the National Film and Television School, that's where Wallace and Gromit comes from? Or?
That's right, yeah, originally.
Okay. So you've got that dry wit, that slow burn build up, so much going on in a short amount of time. And Bill, he loves calling himself the head honcho of the family. And he'll do things like put rocks in his backpack to balance things out, give the family a chance to keep up with his greatness.
Yeah, he's humble like that.
At first you think, okay, maybe this is like just a typical moments of friction in any marriage, but it gradually things unfold, and it's a lot more, and it's weird, and there's just a lot of strangeness going on. So it's quite lovely.
Yeah, I kind of wanted, with Bill, I wanted to create an anti-hero. Like I wanted him to be a sort of despicable character, and as well as these little quirks he has, like, yeah, as you say, putting the rocks in his backpack, the kind of affair that he ultimately sort of gets revealed in the film. I wanted to take that to sort of some dark places to create these kind of complexity and sort of I wanted people to feel contempt for him, but at the same time, he's still almost a bit so tragic. He's lovable as well, and I can't get enough of him personally.
Well, I know there he is. Well, I was going to throw in this. I don't know if it fits now because I watched the animated piece twice. But I was going to say one man's villain can be another man's dreamer, because I think of the incredible Mr. Limpet. He's almost like that, but he's not a redeemable character, right?
I don't think he is. I mean, he sort of has his chances, and he ultimately, his ego is more important to him than anything. So I don't. The only redeeming quality he has for me is his tragedy. And if you can imagine a backstory to such a character, there's something's created him as his parents created him as he and Deb have created their son, and everyone is kind of redeemable to an extent, but with him it's hard. It's hard to find, but he definitely has some tragedy attached to him as well, which ultimately is not anyone's fault, certainly not his.
And of course, we all want to keep in mind this is very funny stuff. It's dry wit. You've got Bill played by Julian Barrett and Deb played by Julia Davis, and I know they're legendary comedy talents. Is there a story behind how they came on board with the project?
Yeah, so during the writing process, I had Julian Barrett in mind for the character of Bill. He's a sort of a hero of mine, really. Like he's I don't know whether it's been in the States, but his biggest sort of success has been a TV show called The Mighty Boosh, with his partner Noel Fielding, and I just sort of grew up with their comedy. It's just really silly, very bizarre comedy, and so I wrote the script and then I sent it to him to send through his agent, and we had a Zoom call and he just agreed to come on board. It was as simple as that. I mean, I can't sort of thank him enough and for agreeing that. And he's married to Julia Davis, who is another hero of mine. She's like a probably one of the most successful UK comedy writers working now, and comedy writers and actors. And she happens to be married to Julian Barrett. So I asked him to put in a word, and she agreed to come on board as well. So yeah, we really got the dream team.
I had a couple of questions on two different tracks that you can go with them however you please. I'm curious about your process. I'm also curious about the process, the creative process, and also the after the movie's been made, the competitions you have to go through, the road to the Oscars. And I don't know, is the ultimate goal to get an Oscar, or you've already made some achievements? I mean, it's qualified now to be nominated, right?
That's right. We won the River Run Festival in North Carolina. I think North Carolina, maybe South. I think it's North. We won the best animation prize at that, which qualified us to enter into the running for the Oscars. And yeah, so it's up to the jury now, or the voters to see whether we get actually longlisted.
What can you tell us about the stop motion animation? What kind of camera, for people who would be interested in getting into this, what kind of camera to use? How much can you do in one day since it's stop motion?
I mean, the beauty of stop motion is you don't need to. All you need is a phone these days and an object to animate. Some sort of tripod probably would help, but yeah, there's great software out there, and all you need to do is just like start and experiment. You know, if you can move something, then you can make a film in stop motion. Obviously, there's layers of complexity that come on top of that, and the most important thing is to have a story. And once you have a story, everything else can follow from there. But the process itself, to get good at it, takes time. But it's actually, it's probably the most, or one of the most certainly accessible forms of animation, I think, because really you just need a phone these days and some imagination.
What can you tell us about the clearing being part of the New Yorker studios?
So we were approached by the New Yorker studios some time ago now, and we've spent sort of the last few months organising the fine details of it. But they've sort of really been making waves to pursue short filmmakers and to give them a platform to release their films. And there were other people vying for that release as well, but we decided that the New Yorker Studios was a really nice platform to have the clearing reach a wider audience. So far it's been in festivals, so there's which tend to be quite young and studenty, and with a lot of filmmakers there as well. But we considered that the New Yorker would get it to a different audience, and I think that's something like I was quite keen to experiment with.
That's great. December 9th is when it's going to show Can you tell us anything else about how people can tune into it?
So it will be on the New Yorker YouTube page, and there will be an interview with me in the New Yorker as well. And that's it, actually. Yeah, it's an exclusive deal with the New Yorker, so it's only going to be available on the New Yorker YouTube page.
Oh, that's wonderful. I was doing a little bit of research, and there's so much people can enjoy. Just look up Daniel Robert Hope. And all your little shorts, I've watched so many of them, just gobbled them up. All at Sea, Barry the Bottom Feeder, and then there's Good Boy. And I just looked at your Instagram. Is Good Boy by any chance modeled after your dog Kobe? Or
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's that was, I mean, well, that was essentially about me and him. Where every time I sit down to eat, he wants some of it, as all dogs do. And yeah, the Good Boy is it's a kind of, yeah, it's a face off between a young boy and a dog. And yeah, again, it goes a bit awry.
well, the dog's very conscientious, looking out for the master. People will have to have to see it to see what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've covered everything. I'm very grateful to have this little interview with you. Thanks so much.
Oh, that's really kind. Yeah, thanks very much for asking for the interview. It's I really appreciate it.
Great. You bet.